as Magic players, we're always constantly begging or, in some cases, demanding reprints for certain cards. And sometimes Wizards does it, sometimes they don't. But are they doing it the right way? Let's take a look. What's up, Commander players? My name's Matt, and you're watching Top Commander. So, today's video, I want to talk about some of the issues that have come about with the reprint situation from Wizards of the Coast. I'm not here to bash them, first and foremost. It's more of constructive criticism, and also something to kind of look at, and for the players who maybe not notice certain things, kind of pay attention a little bit more. But before I get into that, if you wish to support this channel, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And if you wish to support this channel directly, be sure to visit patreon.com/topcommander. So, with that out of the way, reprints are always a big issue for Magic players, especially when you're talking about reprints for other formats outside of Standard. Because you gotta remember that the Standard format, they run on a rotation. They don't necessarily worry about reprints. If you are strictly a Standard player, this video probably doesn't necessarily is directed towards you, if that makes sense. But when it comes to people that play Commander, Legacy, Vintage, Modern, these are formats that don't rotate. And these are cards that used to be in Standard at one point or another in time, and they have since rotated out. So, Standard players play on the rotation. The other people that play on the other formats, they do not play on this rotation. We can use any card for our respective formats, give or take a few cards for our ban lists respectively. Now, when you look at a format like Modern or Commander, or any format that runs like this, you start noticing that certain cards start going up in price. They go up, and they go up. Case in point, Ugin the Spirit Dragon. An 8-mana Planeswalker is colorless, can go in any deck that can really provide the mana, of course, given that you can get the 8 mana. And at one point, I wasn't playing during Standard at this point when Ugin was first released, but I did hear some complaints about Ugin being in Standard. And then when it rotated out, it's whatever at that point, and it got used in Modern. Why not? And it's a big card for Commander players as well. But it's at one point it was reaching $80 to $100. So this staple card, this big name card that is used in a lot of decks for other formats, now costs $80 to $100. That's a lot of money to be dropping on one card. And especially if you look at a format like Commander. When you have a 100 card deck, your deck is automatically $80 to $100 just from one card. That's a lot. Now, of course, Commander players, Modern players, they see this price jump and they want it to get reprinted. But a lot of the times, Wizards does not give us the reprints that we want. For the longest time, they didn't. Now, of course, this year, they've been very generous with reprints as far as I'm concerned. I was not expecting a few of the reprints to come out in recent sets, which kind of threw me for a loop. Ugin now is dropped down to, I believe, $25, $30, something like that. He might be a little bit cheaper, might be a little bit more, but he's not at that $80 to $100 price mark anymore. Now, here's where I feel like Wizards should take a second look when they do reprints. The Standard format, there are people that still play Standard. They don't really care about Modern and Commander Maybe they do on the side, but they want a certain state of play in the standard format. So let's backtrack a little bit. So a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months now, I can't remember when they made the ban announcement for that format in particular, because I am a commander-based format, but I do pay attention a little bit to other formats, particularly standard, because even though I don't play it, it's still interesting to see what's going on, because there's a lot of cards being used in standard that a lot of people, especially new people coming into commander format, might think, oh, well, this plays really great in standard, why not use it in commander? And that's a different piece of advice. Just because it's good in one format doesn't mean it's good in another. That's always something to remember. Now, when we were wanting this print of Ugin, a lot of people were expecting Ugin to get reprinted in one of the upcoming Double Masters set, which is a set that does not go into standard rotation. They usually have like 1 or 2 sets a year, I believe, that has nothing to do with standard. It does not go into standard at all. Skip standard, goes straight to modern, legacy, vintage, commander players, things like that. Now, they reprinted Ugin in a core set. So, back to the prior ban announcement I was talking about. A lot of players were talking about a Simic ramp deck in standard. It's basically just a blue-green deck that just ramps. And for the longest time, they were ramping up and playing Agent of Treachery, which is a 7-mana creature. It's like 5 generic and 2 blue for a 3/3. And when it enters the battlefield, it steals a permanent. Not a non-land permanent, a permanent. And for the longest time, this card was wreaking havoc. If you stole enough of your opponent's things, at the end step, you get to draw 3 cards. You can see where that could be a problem, because they were playing Agent of Treachery in Standard on like turn 4 or 5, because it's a Simic ramp deck. It's insane when you look at how some of the other formats get affected by this. Now, in Commander, of course, we want to ramp to that. We want to play 7 mana spells on turn 4, turn 5. But that's Commander. We run on a way different format. We're a singleton format. When you got the consistency of being able to run 4 Agent of Treacheries, and you consistently can ramp and draw into it and play it and start taking your opponent's stuff, I could see where that could be a problem. That was the problem that they were having in Standard. So, for the longest time, Agent of Treachery was one of these cards that they were using. And then they banned it. Intro to Core Set 21. They reprint Ugin, and the core set is part of Standard. Now, yes, it's not Agent of Treachery. It's not a 7-mana blue spell. It's an 8-mana colorless planeswalker that's automatically going to be a shoo-in for that standard deck, so they can ramp out, get Ugin on turn 4 or 5, and start plussing and ulting him, and he's a board wipe, and he's a really, really good card in Commander for a reason. He is played in Modern still, if I'm not mistaken. I believe Modern has a Tron deck that runs him and the Karn Liberated, the 7-drop Karn. But they reprinted Ugin into a core set, so Ugin is now in Standard. So guess what that Simic ramp deck is doing? They are no longer playing Agent of Treachery because they banned the card. Now they're just playing Ugin. You can see where this is a problem. Because Ugin's plus is a lightning bolt to a creature or player. So if you're not zapping your opponent's creatures for removal, you're zapping them in the face. Then you can board wipe and you can zap them in the face. You're in blue, you have counterspells, so you can protect them. So you're zapping them in the face, you're killing their creatures. Until you play around, and then eventually you can ult and probably finish the game before then. You can see where that could be a problem. Now, when it comes to reprints for Commander players, when we know it's a card that's a problem for Standard players, a few of us have the common courtesy of being like, hey, we want reprints, but, can you print in like a Modern Horizons, put in a Commander Precon. Granted, that Commander Precon is going to be hard to find for a while, but at least you can get a full deck with an Ugin in it. But that's leading into other territory that I'm not sure they're going to quite go down anytime soon. So, when you're looking at something like that happening, is Wizards of the Coast doing it properly? What else got reprinted in M21? Azusa, Lost But Seeking? Oh, that's great, because she's 3 mana, and she's green, and she lets you play 2 additional lands each turn. So, I'm not sure if they're going to use that in Standard, but I could see that Simic Ramp deck making very good use out of that to get to the Ugin. I'm not a Standard player, so I'm not sure if they would really waste their time with Azusa, or if she's automatically a shoo-in for that deck. But you can see where this is a problem, because now the state of the format for Standard, a lot of people are very unhappy with it. They are wanting the power level down. Throwing a card like Ugin was not a good call. Granted, Commander players are very happy that Ugin got reprinted, besides the ones that are upset about the price drop because they wanted that big, flashy, expensive Ugin. But when you look at certain things, like, let's go back to Throne of Eldraine, when they brought the Brawl Precons in. One of the cards in it was the Arcane Signet. Very, very good card. A lot of Commander decks are using them. A lot of Commander decks need them. It's 2 mana rock, ramps you, color fixes you, all the things that you need. But after the Brawl Precons, because they were having issues, I believe they were short printed, and then I'm not quite sure how much they actually printed after that, but there was a shortage for a while when they first came out. The card immediately afterwards was skyrocketing in price. Now, I say skyrocketing, it wasn't $100. But for a 2-cost mana rock, it was getting up there. It was more expensive than Sol Ring. And Sol Ring, if you ever watch the price on that, will get up to about $5 until the next precons are printed and they print Sol Ring again. So, these are things that you have to look at. So, Arcane Signet jumps up to about, I believe it was at about 10, 15 tops at one point. I think it might have been more than that, actually. I believe when it first came out, everybody was trying to get hold of singles of it instead of buying the Brawl Precons. And it was about as expensive as the Brawl Precons. I could be wrong if somebody has the chart to see where the price spiked on it. I believe it spiked up pretty good, though. It was at least $15, $20. But then came the Commander Precons this year. All the Commander Precons got the Arcane Signet. Brought the price way, way down. That's what we need. We need stuff like that. Now look at a card like Smothering Tithe. Smothering Tithe is still a little bit up there on the price level. It's been reprinted into a couple of things. I believe it was mainly like the Ravnica Allegiance Guild kits is where it got a reprint technically, because it came out in the main set and the guild kit. I'm not sure if it got a print after that. I believe it got one somewhere, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. But it was getting up to like $16. It's one that needs to be printed more often in white decks for the Commander Precons. Or if they make Brawl Precons anymore. I'm not sure how that went. I'm not sure if they're going to do that ever again. But Smothering Tithe is a card that is a Commander staple. That needs to be reprinted in Commander Precons. We want the reprints, but do it in a way where it's not affecting other formats, particularly Standard and Brawl, because there is a player base for there, but probably not that big of a player base right now because a lot of people are upset with the power level. Now, when you look at the Jumpstart, Jumpstart was another product where they reprinted a bunch of stuff. Craterhoof Behemoth, Oracle of Moldiah. That was a really good reprint that we needed. Even the, what was it, the Ristic Study, that got reprinted in Jumpstart. These were some really big name reprints. Those cards needed to be reprinted. But now, they were reprinted in the Jumpstart product, which, from my knowledge, Jumpstart is not a set that is going to be standard legal. That's where we want the reprints. That's where they need to be. And then, when you look at it also, there are also a couple of cases where there are certain cards that are just really, really, really expensive. For no reason at all. Going to take you into the other reprint from M21, Grim Tutor. It's a 3-mana black tutor that, now granted, it's probably the best tutor in standard currently. So I'm pretty sure there's a deck using Grim Tutor, potentially. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a standard player, so I can't speak for them. But it's essentially a 3-cost demonic tutor that puts it in your hand and you lose 3 life. Now, in terms of the tutors, Vampiric Tutor and Demonic Tutor are better in so many cases. Grim Tutor is 3 mana and double black. There's a reason why it's not that great. But this card was printed so long ago in an older set, and it's a tutor that Commander players will use. Modern players probably wouldn't use it. Commander players would. But when you're looking at these cards that, like Grim Tutor, didn't get a reprint for so long and it was reaching $200, yeah, that's a card that needs to be reprinted. Now, I don't think Grim Tutor is really a problem in Standard. I haven't heard that card being a problem in Standard. But being that it was $200 and they got it printed in a core set, it's now like $20, maybe $15, $20, something like that. That's a good card to have reprinted. That's one that needed to happen. But the bottom line is, I feel like Wizards of the Coast needs to be more cautious about where they're making their reprints. Now, reprinting Ugin in Double Masters probably wouldn't have affected the price as much as it did reprinting it into a core set. But that goes to show, why are we not reprinting stuff like this in Commander Precons? Why do we have to wait for the big name reprints to come into a Masters set? More importantly, why are the Masters sets constantly going up in price? Really look at that one. There's no reason for it. People can't afford the booster packs. When Masters boosters are costing $20, $30, $15, look at Modern Horizons, how much those booster packs cost. Not Vintage Masters. What was the last one? Ultimate Masters. Ultimate Masters was just stupidly expensive for no reason. And then we have the upcoming Double Masters. And I honestly don't even want to look at the price of that one. I'm probably not even going to worry about Double Masters. I haven't seen anything in there yet that I particularly want a copy of. If I find something, I'm probably just going to buy the single and call it a day. Especially when you find out that they have the VIP boosters. Now, think of these VIP boosters. Think back to Eldraine. When you had the collector's boosters. That was their first introduction to collector's boosters. So you had the main set, where you had $4 packs, and then the collector's boosters that were costing $20, $30 a pack. Granted, you got more in it. You got more foils, you got some extended art, full art, foil this, foil that, you know. You got a couple of things in there, but at the same time, you weren't getting a lot of your price value back for that $30 pack. Now, come forward to sometime here in the near future, before the end of this year, when we get double masters, you have the masters set, the main boosters, which I don't even know how much those are going to cost. But I don't imagine they're going to get cheaper than they were before, because they've been going up in price. And they have a VIP booster pack that costs $100 a piece. That is ridiculous. And looking at what you can get out of these VIPs, unless there are some huge reprints, I'm talking Force of Will, Mana Crypt, you better be guaranteed to get something out of this. But they're so vague with what you can get that it's almost not worth it. There's no way that's going to be worth it. Now, if they're printing Mox Diamonds, Lion's Eye Diamonds, Mana Crypts, Mox Opal, Chrome Mox, if they're reprinting all of that in there, and that's what your card pool is for that rare and mythic slot, is all these $60 and up cards, and you get 4 rares and mythics, and each rare and mythic is about a $60 and up card, you might be talking. But I highly doubt they're going to do that, because they haven't done it in the past. So what's the likelihood of them doing that? Not very high. Bottom line is, we need reprints, but we need Wizards to stop being somewhat greedy when it comes to these reprints, and a little bit more reasonable at the same time, because while, yes, reprinting Ugin was a great thing, but you print him into Standard, not so great. Print these things in a set that doesn't affect Standard, because we know that some of these cards can be problematic. Blightsteel Colossus is getting reprinted. You know how much that card would probably... I feel like that would somehow make a splash in the Standard and absolutely wreck people, because there's a couple of cards that cheat creatures into play. Do you have any idea what that would do to Standard if you reprinted Blightsteel Colossus in a Standard? Of course, they have some inkling because they reprinted in Double Masters. Obviously they didn't. Obviously Ugin was just an oversight. A huge oversight. But these are things that they really need to look at a little bit more closely and stop being greedy when it comes to some of these reprints, because I really kind of want to see the statistics on the sales for these master sets, because I can't imagine them going up and up and up every year when they're constantly making the price go up and up and up, because eventually people don't have the money for it. Now, the sales on singles will probably go up because nobody's buying the boosters. That's a problem in itself. That's not how you want to run your business. You want people to buy the product. Granted, and a lot of content creators out there, myself included, will tell you, unless you just need to feel the thrill of opening a booster pack and getting excited and hoping for something good out of that random pack, just buy singles. It's easier. And probably will save you a whole bunch of money in the long run. That's the problem that we're going to end up having. And that's the problem that Wizards does not seem to see. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I'm not 100% sure. I don't work for Wizards. I don't know what their statistics are. I don't know what their sales projections looks like. But I can't imagine, based on everything I've been hearing, that it's really all that high. So, I mean, this is a problem that we need to address. People need to bring this to Wizards. Those of you that are out there bringing it to Wizards, hopefully not in a hostile way. Be a little bit more reasonable about it. Because if you go up there and you're not being civil about it, let's just put it that way, if you're not being civil about it, you're probably not going to even get the time of day. Now, am I saying being civil, you're guaranteed to get a shoe in the door? No, I'm not saying that either. But I guarantee you'll probably get better results. But those are just my thoughts. This was kind of a rant video, but this was also something that I felt like a lot of people needed to notice and a lot of people needed to see, because it is an issue. People want the reprints. Wizards will give us the reprints, but I feel like they need to be more careful about how they give us the reprints. But that's all I've got for this video. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? You know, are you a standard player watching this and wondering, wow, why is a commander player speaking out about this or something? Let me know down in the comments below. I try to respond back to everybody's comments, but that's all I have for today, so I will see you guys next video.